so we're gonna start off round 3, and Kevin, it comes right back to you. So who do you got as your third pick?
As my third pick, my thought was in terms of having a super group. You could definitely have a super male vocal that has the range, that has the writing ability and the production ability. And a lady comes to mind that that may upset somebody else, within this group, but she's being stolen from a camp. And R.I.P. to Miss Tina Marie.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Prince and Tina, yeah. I can see that.
Vocal range, writing skills, musician. She's got it. She's got it.
And she has that affiliation with Rick James. So there you go again. Just perpetuating the beef.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I think. She's now been stolen by Prince.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To be a part of this super group and Rick's not gonna like that.
I'm going to this show just for the fights, man. It's gonna be crazy. Prince could be outside stamping his heels like, what the hell, man? What's going on right now?
That's an interesting list, though. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It wasn't. That's, you see, this is what I'm saying. We can go anywhere here with this.
Yeah.
This is where it makes it interesting. But yeah, for the longest time, thought she was a sister. Growing up, thought she was a sister. And
he is a sister, man.
And then I saw the video and I was like,
he is a sister.
You're like, what?
She plays too, right? Like she plays guitar.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, I see her on stage. That's an interesting one with Prince.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that when Rick James was in studio, she was there too. She did a lot of work in the backgrounds that people didn't know. She played keys as well, guitars, background vocals, writing, So he may not have credited her on a lot of things because, he's just Rick James. But
fair enough.
Yeah, that works. I think Prince would be he'll be nicer to allow her to do all of that than if she was a dude, because he likes to let the ladies do that.
That he does.
But she definitely was my Bobby Caldwell.
Ooh,
like for years I thought she was black. And when I found out,
you're like, what?
I was like, wait, what?
Surprise! Like,
from Fire and Desire, I also didn't know for a while. I didn't realize like she was the same person. I was like, oh, she sings Scribbers too. Okay. Yeah. Wow. And both songs I didn't know it was a white person until later.
You said, hold on, you said she sings what?
Is it Squarebiz?
Squarebiz, yeah.
Oh yeah. Classic.
Love a girl, yeah.
Classic.
That's his stuff. Yeah.
Classic.
I'm gonna have to hit the Spotify list of Tina Marie because I can't remember the classic the song that she has when she's singing is Portuguese, or is it Italian? What is the one that she has again?
Oh, she has a song she did a song called Portuguese Love.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think that's what you think. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Classic.
Yeah, very unique artist. Great, awesome.
It's a good pick, man.
100%.
Thank you.
Boy, this is where it gets interesting, man, because there's some heavy hitters on this list still, but I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. That's why I'm like, do we make another round? Because I'm like, there's so much.
Oh my gosh.
but let's stick with the 5-round format for now, and we're gonna start off with Keo here for the second pick of the 3rd round.
So I was very comfortable because you guys picked all the producers already. And I was like, oh, no, nope, I'm good still. So I'm just going to knock this off the board. Even though I don't need to do this right now, but I'm going to do it anyway. My pick for producer is Timbaland. And the reason being is because we got 3 decades now, this guy's been spanning, setting the tone musically for a whole generation of R&B and rap music. I think that the music that he can make between Michael Jackson and Usher will be certified smashes. So I'm not worried about the tour. I'm not worried about the album. He's going to throw some fire on there for everybody. And so that's my pick, Timbaland.
Great pick, man.
Yeah, man. That's a damn good pick.
Love that guy.
Heavy.
And I think it fits the sound sonically. I think it'll work together. And, you come up with something funky that, you haven't heard before, different drum pattern or something. You'll come up with something genius working with them. So that's my pick.
There's two directions you can go here for this. Number one, because I'm looking at your list, and I shouldn't question it. I should be knocking your list. I'm not knocking your list, actually. I'm not. But I'm like, number one, I'm like, would he be able to make a ballad for like Michael Jackson or Usher?
Absolutely.
But then,
absolutely.
But then also on top of that, I can see him making an entire new sound for that whole group that just
there you go. Yeah,
takes everybody to outer space. Because for the longest while, he said like he never had a style. He used to make a style up, everybody would take it, and then he would change the style.
Yeah,
and everybody would take
That's
that
how
and
he does
change it again.
So imagine like he could just sit down in the room with these geniuses and do something that no one else is thinking of right now.
And nerd out.
And just nerd out.
Yeah.
Because Michael would love that. Just to be like, throw this guitar in here, whatever.
They never did work together.
No.
That would have been
he did with Jermaine Dupri
and that would have been sweet.
Rodney Jerkins.
Yeah, Rodney Jerkins.
Which is kind of the knockoff Timberland.
You dropping names, man.
We're good. Producers are done. The producers are all on the board already.
Honorary mentions, man.
Fair enough.
Are the producers done? Hold on.
Yeah, everyone's got a producer.
Wow.
Taking their producer. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Right,
Wow.
right.
The producer's already covered. Yeah, that production's already covered.
Right.
That's right.
Wow. Teddy
So we could just we could just name producers now.
No. Let's
producer's done.
Let's
you only get one defense.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the only producer you got.
You're right. But
there's one I can't believe he's not on this board yet. I'm surprised.
Now here's the thing: is the producer / singer? Then maybe you could do the singer side instead of producer.
Right. Yeah. That's true. But because Chris picked Babyface as a singer, as a producer,
he's not a singer.
He's not a singer.
Out of here.
Not a singer anymore.
Out of here.
Actually, you need a singer now.
Yeah, you need a singer now. But that's all good. I'm not helping Chris. No, that's not helping here. He's a big man.
Yeah, my list is good enough, man.
Wow, there is Timberland would. Oh man, for hip hop and R&B. Before I get to my next selection, hip hop and R&B.
There's no question.
Top 3 producer of mine, like ever, especially for hip hop.
Yeah,
like it's not even
no question.
Yeah.
For hip hop, I mean, what he showed you is genius. For example, just like a little short display of genius is when the first verses that him and Swiss Beats did, right?
Yeah,
like the very first one at the beginning of COVID, and Swiss is in his car playing all these knockers and bangers and stuff. And Timberland's not even touching his hip hop section. He's just hitting him with R&B.
Just fooling around with R&B right now.
He's just hitting him with R&B.
Yeah.
And I remember after a while, even Swiss Beats is like, yeah, you're not playing fair right now. He's just hitting him with. He didn't even hit Jay-Z.
Like, hold that.
Yeah,
dominoes. Like hold that. That.
Just R&B. Just hit him with R&B. Not even touching the hip hop. That's what I'm like. Yeah, like that right there. And people still think Swiss Beats won that. I don't get it.
I disagree.
I don't get that.
I still gotta see that one.
Yeah,
I never saw that one.
So you're right. Like I think he can create a whole new genre with the two of them right there, and then the choreography to go with that.
It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. Dude, I'm building something here, man.
I see.
But you know what, Calvin? I've said this to you before on another podcast where I said what I always find amazing about these producers is I like to look at sometimes just to imagine the hours they clocked in. Like a lot of times people don't think about that, and when we take people's songs, I say we because I've done it before. When you get people's songs for free, right? We don't think about the hours that these people put in a studio. I was involved with a record label one time, and I was the worst because after about 6 hours, I was like, I need to get out of here. I don't care what we're working on, but I'm gone. And those guys would be in the studio like 12 hours, 16 hours. And I found that amazing. But me, I'm a DJ. I'm only good for about 4 to 5 hours. After that,
finished products.
After that, I was like, I'm done. So everybody has their place. After all, I told them, I'm the guy that plays the product that you created.
Yeah.
You're in the studio making it. I don't have that kind of time. When these guys go into the studio, just imagine people like Timbo, like the hours and hours they put in, man. And that's why somebody, remember what happened to Jay Dilla? Like he got himself sick because he spent so much time in the studio.
Just in there, in the dark too. It's like a casino. You're just in the dark.
You're not eating properly. And when you eat, you're eating trash, like junk food. Like
it's all junk food.
Like these guys gave you their whole being to create like what they are right now. And a lot of people, they don't think about that. You know what I mean? It's just tracks to them. But man, to make an album, you know how much tracks you got to put out and then choose from that amount to put an album together. I commend all those guys for that. Producers like yourself, Keo, and some of the work like you and your brother have done in the past and stuff. I could never like dream of doing that stuff. Like
the hours in the studio is like you come in there at nighttime and you come out the next day and it's still nighttime. Like that's the amount of hours you spend in there, just like mixing and mastering.
No, you would. I would be gone. Like 12 hours.
We're same clothes. It's just because you're focused. You're like, we got to get this thing mixed properly. And like when we were doing it, we cared. Like we wanted this thing to sound right. So we're trying to mix and master.
Sorry to cut you, but Kevin and Shalli.
Yeah.
This guy used to work with people like Tribe and them.
Wow, dope.
You see where I'm coming from? So the work they put in, and he used to work with like like people like Jay Dilla, people like that. So the work these guys put in, like I said, I couldn't even get to that. I don't even want to get to that level.
It's dedication because that's your life right now. That's all you can do. Like, we're gonna go to a party where they're like, no, we got a studio, we gotta finish the track or whatever.
Yeah,
it's your passion, right? You got to be passionate about something.
And the hour, just even before you get to the studio, you're spending hours and hours just making music, like sketching stuff, writing things down, like trying to cut samples or making beats or whatever. Like it's hours and hours of that before you even get to the studio. Then you got to write the song, then you got to record it. Then you gotta mix it, master it. It's a whole process.
For me, just send it to me when you're done, and I'll play it.
It's months of your life, like this. You just throw it away.
And on top of that too, like it's like half perfectionist, right? Like the average person doesn't hear like the little ad libs you spent like an hour putting together. That person is not catching the regular person in the club. Yeah, exactly. The regular person in the club's like, what vocal? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They're partying. They don't care.
Hear that part. Yeah. But I mean, to your credit, and any producer's credit, even a songwriter or artist, I've heard this from artists myself. They say you only get that one chance to release. You can't only release a song once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
So it has to have
it's got to be
all of those elements that you were looking for to release it, unless you come with a remix, but that's a different story entirely. But you only get one chance to release a song for the first time. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Before I go my next story, the classic story, because I can mention this artist because they're not in the demographic of the list we're choosing from here. But the famous one, the story that I love the most, one of the famous stories I love the most is the Isley Brothers, and they were in a studio. And they're trying to get this track out, and it was costing them money, right? And they just weren't getting it together. And I guess the person that was running the studio was like, "Listen, we have a next group coming in 15 minutes. You guys better hurry up and get the out because we gotta get these guys ready together." And they were still struggling. And then they said, "You know what? Let's just make the track. Let's just make the song right now." Because I don't think they were recording anything. They're just trying to like rehearse and put it together.
Yeah.
So they said, about 5-6 minutes to go, they said they went, did the song, and literally in one take, the moment the song was done, the people came in, basically kicked them out the studio, gave them the real get out, pushed them out the studio, got the next person in, was recording it. That song was Twist and Shout.
Wow. What the hell?
So when you hear those stories of like, and I'm a sucker for those behind the curtain, like
I'm the sucker like that too, man. I'll sit there all day and watch those things, man.
Yeah. So
Twist and Shout, that monster was done in a flash.
Yeah, it was basically like a foot in their back. Like, get out, hurry up, get out.
This done.
And that song has been sang for the last 7 decades. It's gonna outlive them.
They still play at weddings, man. Like, that's a go-to song.
So
I think I played it this weekend. As a matter of fact,
did you?
Yeah, I think I just played this weekend.
So I'm looking at this list, and again, because I'm thinking of like the lavish lifestyle of the castle that I want to live in, and I want to continue that trend. But I love the clubs, so I want to get to the club a little bit. So in my mind, how I'm going to do this is, there's definitely, because there's going to be so much monsters here that you're going to be able to select. I want to be able to have about at least 3-4 songs off an album where it's just going to be this artist. And hopefully it's going to be so strong, it's going to change the game. And I'm hoping Jermaine Dupri has a little bit of that Timbaland magic where he just kind of creates a genre himself and just figures it out. But I'm looking at the people that are still left on this list. There's so many different directions I want to go here. I'm very tempted to pick one. I'm hoping I can get them coming back. Let's hope. But the way Shalli's choosing right now, I don't know. I don't know if this artist will be here by the time it's the 4th round comes. But I was influenced by this artist, Caravan of Weekend. I don't know if you guys are following me here, but their album came out, Caravan of Weekend, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not their biggest fan. So their fans, please don't come for me. but I literally spent in Caravan of Weekend, for those that know, those that don't know, it's basically the Caribbean festival, celebrating the culture, the music, and everything. It's here in Toronto every year. This is the first year back from COVID. It was the whole weekend was great. You know what I mean? It was just great being back out there, especially when it was lockdown city for the last few years in Toronto. But I literally, during those times, I'm usually having my shark and bake, I'm having my mango chow, and I'm listening to nothing but soca,
yes, Cal,
soca, and soca. But every time I hopped in the car,
hold on, it's bake and shark, goddammit.
Bake and shark. I'm sorry.
You're making me hungry.
I just couldn't let it go.
You see, my drink is gone. So I might be a little touched. But yeah, so as the weekend's going, I'm like, I start listening to the album. I'm like, starting off pretty strong. Gets to the 3rd or 4th song, I'm like, damn, it's pretty tough. By like the 5th or 6th song, I'm like, oh my God, I think I like this album a lot. Like, I think I love this album. Beyonce.
Okay. That's a good pick. That's a very good pick.
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna do that.
I figured you might have caught it, but
I wasn't even necessarily. I had her on the fence for the same reasons that you said, but as you could go on as to why it's a solid pick.
No, just I mean, we all know the accolades. Like, I'm just going over a list here. Over 200 million records sold worldwide, 28 Grammys, 26 MTV Video Music Awards, the Michael Jackson Vanguard Award, 24 NAACP. I mean, the list goes on and on. But like, my perception of her changed the last 10 years, I would say. So I think was it the 4 album? I'm not familiar with all the names, but the 4 album, the Lemonade album was dope. The production that she has on these albums is just it's phenomenal. Like, even if you're not an R&B head, like some of the club hits that she's coming with, you're just like, oh my gosh. First time I heard 7-Eleven, I was like, I was blasting that with the windows down. When were you looking at me? I'm like, yeah, I'm blasting 7-Eleven. That's right. That's me. That's right. I don't care. It's just, but honestly, the Renaissance album, like what she did, like in terms of making it like would Break My Soul. And then, she's coming with the whole, like kind of bringing back house music and that kind of 90s flow.
That Pure Honey song is fire. I don't care what anybody says. No. That is some fire right there.
No, I can't deny it. I don't listen. I'm not the Beyonce fan, so I can't sit there and say this is her best album or anything like that. I don't know if I'm prepared to have that conversation. But again, I'm just looking at like the hits that are coming from this album. It's fire, from Afro beats to like the house stuff, and just the production is just incredible, man. And she's been knocking it out. Like the last 10 years, I'm like, yeah, like shoot, you can't deny this. Can't deny this. I didn't even think she'd still be here, to be honest with you. But the fact that she is, I'm like, I'll take it. Her and Whitney Houston, I'm hoping they can work together. But Jermaine Dupri's, he'll figure it out.
That's a good pick. Listen, Calvin, people will come for me, but I've always put her. I gotta say, people will come for me. I'm that fly in the ointment. I've always considered her the same way I kind of consider Mary. Her voice. I'm not gonna name certain people that, like I say, when I go see them live, you get goosebumps. You want to ask somebody to close the window. You know what I mean? She doesn't do that for me voice-wise. Like vocal-wise, she never held me like that. Right. But I give her props for her team and picking the right tracks to suit her. That's why I put her. But as far as a vocalist, she's never done it for me like that. Even her best records, like best records, it's never pulled me the way certain artists, have pulled me. Like where you heard their vocals and you're like, Jesus Christ, like this person's not human. She never gave me that. But again, that team to me is like at the end of this, I don't want to name an artist because she might fall in the 80s category, but there's an artist to me that voice can compete with anybody. But I always found her downfall was she didn't have the right team. So she put up songs. Sometimes you're like, your voice is like amazing, but you don't. She's like the opposite, but you don't have the right team. People to me, like Beyonce and Mary, they have the proper team to fit their voices. So their vocals, I wouldn't put them on the level of like a Patti LaBelle. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But they make it because they did it properly. So
I definitely have to agree with Chris on that because I've never been drawn by Beyonce's voice. I've been drawn by the hook of a song or the production of a song.
The total package.
Yeah. So it has to be presented that way. If not, the voice alone wouldn't draw me in. So I definitely see where Chris is coming from. I agree with him 100%.
And then the entertainment aspect of it all too.
Yeah.
She's major, like the showmanship, and then again and then the other thing I want to mention too, like she's mastered the especially for this. I mean, I don't think nobody was really doing it before her. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I like to call it the unauthorized album drop, where especially on Spotify, this is the big thing where you wake up in the morning and you see Twitter going crazy, and you look, you're like, oh, Beyonce put out a whole new album. Okay, right. and then for the rest of the weekend, everybody's that's all you're getting, right? And she's mastered that quite a few times. Like, you can kind of even say this one, because I mean, maybe it was being promoted. I don't remember it being promoted. It might have been this last album.
No, she just dropped it.
She just dropped it.
Yeah, Keel's right.
Yeah.
She just dropped it, and then just
power.
Yeah, she doesn't have to promote it.
Power. I'd like to hear a woman's view on
absolutely.
This. You thought you get away, Shalli?
I actually agree with a lot of what you guys already said, but Beyonce's interesting to me because I feel like when she came out, and even when she was in Destiny's Child, which is a good point, she can work in a group. When she came out, like I didn't really like her voice personally. I didn't really like the way she sang. But one thing that I noticed is that she improved. She kept improving. I feel like technically she's an awesome singer. But I also feel like there are singers who don't have to sing even very many notes, but they dig in a certain place where it touches me, it gives me goosebumps. I don't get that from her. But at the same time, the spectacularness of her performance and even her vocal combinations, it kind of replaces that for a lot of people. You know what I mean? And then of course she's pure eye candy, and she carries it. It doesn't wear her. She wears it. She really does. And she's done things that I think are pretty unbelievable that I haven't really seen any artist of this generation do, like especially after she had her kids, and then she did that. What was that performance at the was it the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl. Yeah.
I think it was Super Bowl, yeah.
With the Egyptian,
the homecoming. This is the homecoming.
Yeah, like that was just like that was one of those things where you're like, are you human? Like, Like the level of work, I really haven't seen very many, maybe Tiana Tillers, I shouldn't mention her name, but I haven't seen very many people exhibit that. So that says a lot. And again, even with all of that, being able to command the stage and then being able to humble yourself to work in a group, which she still has, you know, done things with Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
Not till that long ago.
Yeah.
That says a lot. So I think as a package, it's a win. People do like her and people do revere her almost. Like there's certain, the way they've marketed her, they've created like a reverence around her. And
her fans are nuts.
People have bought into it. You know, they really believe it.
The Beehive was crazy people.
Yeah. So like you said,
don't come after me. I picked her. Sorry, not to cut you off.
And you know what? People thought she would be fly by night with a lot of the trendy stuff she's done. She's still here. So I mean, it speaks for itself. But I do feel the same way you do. It's very interesting. I don't know what that is. She's interesting, even as a person. So, I mean, it's a win again. And you need some eye candy.
Yeah, I think when you have the right team, I mean, you hear people say it over and over again, but I think she's a great example of it. If you have the right team and you're willing to listen, man, the sky's the limit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know, the sky's the limit. Her team is phenomenal. From publicists to like marketing, like phenomenal, man.
Top notch. Shalli, who's your pick for the third round?
Listen, I'm like stuck right now. Not that I don't have a lot of people. It's just more
Take your time. Don't rush through it.
Who should really go next? Okay, so I'm kind of not following suit with what you guys are doing for the most part. I'm picking artists that is like, okay. But there's so many people that I could choose. But I'm gonna choose another younger artist. I'm gonna choose Lucky Day. We'll get to the ladies soon, but Lucky Day. He's an R&B artist. And honestly, like, you just have to look him up. Like, every single song is solid. The production is solid. The writing is solid. I've seen him live. It was one of the best shows I've seen in a very long time. And he doesn't do music. He is music, period. Like, he is music. He embodies music. He doesn't do choreography and all this stuff, but he moves like someone that you can imagine is a dancer, you know? And I think him with Bruno Mars would be working perfectly. His band was like explosion, like insane. Every member of his band was like crazy. And I feel like, again, Bruno's also had experience and, you know, values that band singer dynamic. Between the two of them, I feel like it would be awesome. I feel like the harmonies, everything would be sick. But definitely look him up because, you know, he's not, I don't want to mention anybody that people might mention. He's not.
No. Lucky Day is nice. Lucky Day is definitely nice.
Yeah. Like that. Listen, I don't want to mention other people I'm going to mention. I don't really care because I'm not going to use these people no more. But like, his name isn't Joe, okay? Because I love Joe and I thought of him as well. But he's on the level. He's literally on the level, and he writes his songs.
Yeah.
He actually, there's another artist, which I'm not going to mention because you might choose him, but who's actually on the runnings to have signed him before he signed the deal that he has right now. Who's also a huge artist. Like, yeah, he's awesome.
I love the collab. I love the collaboration with Earth, Wind, and Fire. That he did. That was awesome.
Yeah, I've never seen a crappy performance from this guy, and his recordings are solid. He dabbles in a lot of different pockets in terms of influences as well, which if you listen, you'd hear a little Prince, even though he didn't sound like Prince. I'm just talking about the production, like the music. It's good. It's sexy. It's perfect. Yeah, he's great.
Got it. Got it. No, he's legit. Like he's
write it down.
This generation. Oh, yeah. This generation for sure.
You're making me do my homework.
He's a goosebump guy. He's a goosebump guy. You know what I mean? Of this generation, a lot of people don't think that exists anymore, but yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And pretty versatile as well because I mean this artist is off the board, but you know I mean I'll mention him right now because not artists, sorry, producers off the board. Since we got everybody's got their producer, so I can mention his name, but. You know, he's done some work with Montreal Zone. I love to shout out South Shore Zone. K Trinata, you know, and
he's
like
a dope producer.
K Trinata
his
is
remixes.
incredible producer, you know, from the South. Yeah, from the South Shore, and you know he can get eclectic and stuff too. And yeah, like so when you hear like what they've done together as well, like, and the remixes for that, like you're just like, okay, like this guy's nice. Definitely for this generation for sure. But yeah,
gone into space there. Yeah.
No, he's definitely legit. Chris, who do you got for the final pick of the third round?
I want to make a quick comment on something Shalli said when she said, a lot of us today don't think there's a lot of Goosebumps people out there. And I always say there has to be, because the universe doesn't just bless a couple of people. Most of these Goosebumps people, I'm sure you still find them in churches, right? The problem is they don't get put in mainstream. And that's where the problem is. So to me, the universe has to be putting them out there. It has to be. There's a Al Green somewhere out there. You know what I'm saying? There's a Stevie Wonder like somewhere out there. But the problem is somebody's dictating, or a group is dictating who we consider top notch. And we know there's better, but they're out there in the church and on the streets. And that's the problem. So people like,
get on.
Yeah,
so it's happening with hip hop for sure. There's so many female MCs, and they just keep making us think that there's only like a few, and they're all doing the same thing, wearing bodysuits. Like there's so many with so much versatility. Some of them sing and produce as well, and it's like, they're not getting the push. You know?
But you see what you did today, like putting up on like Lucky Day. What I would ask of you is things like this is great. And here's why. When you find artists like this, if you could, of somebody like me, and send me a message, you know, because people like myself, like Kevin, like, you know, like Keo, anybody doing radio or out there, we're looking for stuff like this. But Shalli, it's so hard to find.
Oh, yes.
Like, it's so frustrating, man. We get so much music sent to us, and a lot of it,
deluge of music out there.
Oh my gosh! Like you'll go crazy. You can't keep up.
It's an overload.
Most people tell you we're always searching, especially like DJs that came through the '90s and like early 2000s. We're constantly searching for Goosebump artists, that vocalist, but we can't find them. So a lot of times, people will tell me, "Man, Chris, I don't know how you guys survive because R&B is dead." And I'm like, "It can't be.
Can't be dead."
But when you hear it, please, like, message me at least. If you can't, send it to me and I'll try to find it. But I need, like, you just said there, you're making me do my homework now. I need to hear things like this. You know what I mean?
I think there's actually a lot of popular R&B artists I don't listen to regularly because, in my opinion, they sound a lot of females as well that sound to me like almost all the same. And it's just not my vibe. You know what I mean? But there are some that they're still fresh. They're still unique and modern, but they have something else going on that's deeper, and I like that. You know what I mean? So I have no problem doing that. I would love to do
I want to
curate something for you.
No, that'll be I want to piggyback on what Chris is saying, because it's so true, because it seems like what mainstream radio has done has killed R&B, the core of R&B, the essence of R&B that we know, right? So, I mean, I want to take this time. I was actually going to wait till the end, but seeing that Chris touched on it, Shalli, I want to thank you for naming these names that I will then, as Chris is probably doing some research, to say, you know what, who else is out there? Because R&B is a lost genre right now. Not to say that it's lost, that it's not out there, but it's lost in the sense that it's hard to find.
Hard to find quality.
Mainstream R&B is hard.
Yeah, mainstream R&B, watered down.
It's just not there.
Yeah, and
mainstream, the rap, they want to be rappers, and the singers want to be in movies or something. They don't want to. Nobody wants to sing.
Yeah,
that's your job, is just singing. You don't have any aspirations.
We're the singers, man.
You don't plan to do some movie. You don't plan to do your job is
not a social media. You're not a social media.
You're not.
You know what? I just like to see the presentation of variety. Like again, mentioned hip hop as an example, but I'm like, the city girls can do their thing. It's fine. I just want to see other things, and that's how I feel about. That's how I feel about R&B.
Girls, we're good.
No, but what I'm saying is that
I know. I totally understand.
Yeah, it's that variety. Like in R&B, there's some there's some singers that are not singers. They're actually a very soft voice, but they you know, they're not blowing like some other artists, but there's still something like, I don't know, that touches you about the way they're singing. And some singers, I don't know, like they have a unique combination in the way they put together their notes, but it might be more of a sing rap vibe. But again, they're coming with something fresh. So to me, like, I'm open to having the variety, but I want to see the more variety. I having 6 or 7 artists that all dress the same and like literally almost sound exactly the same, or one artist sounds different and then all the other 5 do what that artist is doing. And then as an artist, you're also expected to do exactly that for every single song on an album. And I don't want to hear an album that even, that's just me. I like the variety. I like to hear some fast songs, some slow songs. This thing where one whole album is just all like slow songs too. That's just me. I want to hear variety. So
trust me, it's not just you.
It's not just you. I've gone to record companies and shopped like music and artists to, you know, VPs of companies and presidents of companies, and there's nothing home. They don't think about anything. Like I've sat in a boardroom with a VP. I'm not gonna say which company, but I sat in the boardroom with them, and we're like, well, this is the song we got. This is the thing. This is the artist we're working with. This is the. And they're like, do you have anything that sounds like this? I'm like, well, we don't want to do that. We're trying to do something different. They don't have a clue. And especially A&Rs. I'll never forget. I told the story before, but like, I went to a meeting to go see this A&R, and we couldn't start his meeting because he was watching Batman. We had to wait till he finished watching Batman before we could do our meeting. I'm like, I came from Canada down here to see you, to shop some music. Like,
man.
I spent all the hours in the studio getting here to go to do this meeting. This guy's got his slippers on the couch watching Batman.
I'm like, press pause.
This is why the industry is what it is. It's nepotism and nonsense.
Sometimes it's not even. Sometimes it's not even the artist. Like, how many artists have we heard of that actually had to fight for the sound that we know now, or the curation of their albums that we hear
everybody's
now,
forcing them into the cookie cutter mold. Everybody from top to bottom. If when you get a deal, like you have the people who do promotion for you, your publicists, everybody's pushing you. You should do something like this. You should get a haircut like this. Like, it is a funnel. I've had a record deal, and I'm telling you, when they tell you what they want, you just like, well, I just want the deal. I want to go out and perform. So you start doing the stuff. You start folding. And like, that's the reason why our album never came out, because we didn't fold, which is, I don't know if it's a source of pride, or I could have had a plaque on my wall right now, but it's like everybody wants you to go do this thing. And they're present to the company, to the A&R, to your engineer, to your producer, like everyone wants you to do this thing, and they're funneling you into just nothingness. What's that? Taupe. Like, just vague brown. That's what they're funny you to.
It's hard, but that's a deep conversation, you know.
It's a whole other topic.
That's a different show, man.
I can vent for hours on this.
But you know what? It gives us a little insight about what some of the artists go through, because sometimes you don't know that it's not. Sometimes it's not
100% their fault all the time. Like, a lot of times, the manager, it's like, oh, you don't have anything on the radio for the last couple of months. You gotta get out there and do something else. Like, I think that's what happened to Usher. Like, you gotta get out there, and this is what the kids are listening to now. And everything is 1,000 times worse because of TikTok. You have no idea the monster that this thing has created.
It's a good point.
So social media has definitely killed some songs for me before they even get big. By the time they get big, I'm like, I don't even want to hear this song anymore.
Do the stupid dance.
But
you're making them do the dance.
TikTok's paying for that though, right?
Yeah, basically.
Getting some people paid big time.
And can I add one more thing too? If there's any DJs that end up listening to this show, there's something else a lot of DJs have to stop practicing. This thing about getting a song and feeling like you want to drop that song and have that song before anybody else. And then what happens? Sometimes they go beyond that. You got this, you found this song somehow, but you're holding it on for yourself. I know some guys who move that way, and it's hard to get certain tracks like out of their hand, or who is this artist? Sometimes you'll Shazam it and it's not coming up. I think that's also something that hurts the game also, where we're not sharing the music. There's guys that find certain R&B tracks and they will not, you ask them, I've had DJs tell me, I'm not going to name names, but I've heard DJs say, well, you know, Chris, I got to play this track a few times first. And I'm like, but you're doing the artist a disservice.
Injustice,
They want to be played.
Like, what do you mean you got to play the track like for a while first? What are you talking? You talking weeks or you talking months before they'll tell you who it is or send it to you? To me, that also is hurting the game, especially in the R&B world. Like somebody like Lucky Day, like what you presented here, Shalli. Like a DJ gets his hands on music like that, send it out there, put it out. Have you guys heard this track? Blah blah blah. And to me, that's another way you could reverse this also, or at least make it 50-50. You know, I understand the bubblegum music and stuff that's out there, but at least make it 50-50, man. Give us a little bit of something else on the plate.
Well, who's your fifth pick, Chris? Who's your pick? Sorry, fifth pick. Sorry, your third round pick.
This artist, I was blessed to see twice back in the days. And this artist sound, I mean, all you guys could attest to this. I love to go to a show and the artist could perform for like 2 hours and every song they sing, it sounds just like their friggin' record. And you're sitting there and you're going, like, holy shit, I feel like I'm sitting in my living room right now, like listening to this artist.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was blessed to see this artist twice, and both times I sat there like, again, goosebumps. You know, whoever you went with, they almost didn't exist. Like you were just focused on that 2 hour show. Unbelievable. And that person is Mr. Luther Vandross.
Yes.
But wait a minute. When did his career start?
His career started with a group.
Yes.
And when was that?
And that was in the late 70s, but he went solo.
In the 80s.
Right? He went solo.
Well, actually,
look that up.
Change started in 1980.
Oh, okay. Then he was out before that though.
He was a background vocalist.
Background vocalist.
Yeah. But he actually went solo in 81.
It counts. It counts.
Yeah, it counts.
I thought I did the math on this beforehand because he was one of my picks. So
yeah,
it counts.
He started the Change. He was lead singer of Change in 1980. They came out in 1980.
Yeah,
well,
right under the gun.
You got that.
He wasn't actually the lead singer. They didn't have him as the lead. They had him as a background vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They needed a vocalist, and they said, okay. It was actually in the studio, and they said, Luther, come take the part. But then he was like, I don't want to do it. I won't do it. And then they recorded, and lo and behold, the biggest songs and their breakout songs were the ones that he was the lead on.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, he only did the 2 tracks for leads.
Yeah.
And after that, his solo career was launched.
I mean, those tracks to this day.
He's amazing.
Oh my God.
It's like my favorite.
That's an understatement.
So true. No, you're so true. It's so right, Chris. He sounds exactly
Exactly
as the record.
Exactly. Both times I saw him, he was one of those artists besides Stevie Wonder where I didn't want you talking to me. Like, well,
shut up.
I was gone. I said, there's one other artist I got to see like that, and I could say his name, but there's one other artist on my bucket list that I have to see that I know I'll be the same way. Because growing up in my house, you couldn't say shit about this artist. My mother would take your head off, and that was Al Green. Yeah. So Al Green, the day I see Al Green, I know, leave me alone. Let me take this in. But Luther did that to me, and I always say to this day, one of the saddest moments for me with Luther is when he passed. I felt like when Luther Vandross, 2 people, when they passed, I felt like as a community, we didn't talk about it. It was almost like a passing. It was Luther Vandross and it was Barry White. When those 2 icons passed, it's like our community almost didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I think Luther passed around the time like Farrah Fawcett passed. So a lot of people was more focusing on was it Farrah? No, it wasn't. Somebody passed around that time. And when Luther passed, it's like nobody talked about him. And to this day, to me, that's one of our biggest loss in as far as like our community. And I mean, Luther to me was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He sounds
incredible.
His voice is
amazing.
Jeez.
He's an innovator, like vocally, he innovated vocally. Like he just, I don't know, he's on the edge of with everything that he did, and all the even the covers he did that you didn't realize was a cover because he's owned it more than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
He's what Michael Bolton wanted to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Basically, absolutely.
And I don't mind Michael Bolton, but Luther when he did the cover.
But Luther was effortless.
Yeah,
Michael Bolton was not effortless. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're right.
His voice is a horse.
Love him, but you know.
Yeah, Luther had some tracks. I used to say, if you're going through a breakup, do not put that track on. Crack that record in half, send it out your window. Because if you play that track, you're going to be suicidal. He had certain tracks that, I mean, jeez, like unbelievable, man. Back in the days when I used to go to New York a lot, like growing up in Montreal, we were closer to New York than like Toronto. You can get to New York in Calvin, like 6 hours?
6 hours.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, so super short. Yeah.
Yeah, we were in New York a lot, visiting family and stuff. And what I'll never forget was the Quiet Storm days. So you listen to like BLS and Kiss FM, and listening to some of his tracks back in those days, you were like, man, like I'm happy the industry found this, because somebody like that was supposed to end up like how he ended up. That wasn't supposed to stay in a church or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to always say, thank God I wasn't blessed with that, because if I was, I think I'd have about 15 children right now.
Oh boy,
you'd be Sean Kemp.
Basically, unbelievable. But I had to now imagine him with ballads coming from Babyface.
Some fire right there.
And he can also write too.
Music. Yes, music can write as well.
I said, and he can write too, and he wrote and produced too.
Yeah.
So imagine them in the studio working together.
My God.
And then like, hey, Mary, you know what? We got something for you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just looking back at this list, it's crazy.
Yeah. I started off last, but I'm doing all right.
Yeah, no, but before we end this third round off again. So just to recap, third round so far, got Tina Marie, we got Timbaland, we got Beyonce, Queen Bee, we got Lucky Day, and we got Luther. This draft, I like this because it's not what I expected, to be honest with you. It's not where I expected it to go, but it's all heavy hitters just the same. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of having it open to this degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now with that said, we're 3 rounds in. There's an elephant still in the corner of the room.
Still
in the corner of the room.
Okay.
So still gonna hold my breath for now, But yeah, I'll just leave it there for now.